Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
Hells. I'm lucky I learned to swim when I did.
Slept like a babe straight through the night. Dreamless, thoughtless, and almost entirely free. For the first time, you feel alone, calm. You breathe. Baal may have been your beginning, but he will not be your end. Of all those you killed in your father's name, one lingers in your mind even now. Alfira, the Bard of the Emerald Grove. Her death weighs upon you still. A burden you will carry for the rest of your days. But fortunately, you will not have to carry it alone.
I was afraid for the briefest moment when I woke this morning. I didn't know where I was. I thought perhaps it had all been a dream, stopping the Absolute, saving my parents. Then I realized I was in your arms. We did it. Everything's perfect. Almost, anyway. I didn't mean it like that. After everything that happened. With my parents. With Shah. I didn't think I was owed any happiness. I did things. Things that fill me with shame now. There's at least one person who doesn't want me happy. Shah. I felt the wound last night. While you were sleeping. Like some sadistic child de-winging a fly. She can try to twist the knife all she likes. I know I can survive her worst. Nothing she does can sour the fact that I have my family again. Thank you. Sometimes I have to remind myself of that very thing. It's nice to hear someone else say it. You and I... Our time together has been very dear to me. Good. Then seek me out when you have time. I'm hoping to find some place I can settle down and stay close to my parents. Somewhere quiet, where they can find peace and gaze at the night sky. I'll keep a spot for you. It'll be just like old times.
When Shadowheart found your peace, in a country farmstead with a pack of pets and a garden of night orchids. You were basking beneath the silver moon after a midnight swim one night, when you notice a letter among your discarded clothes. An invitation to a gathering of the friends and allies who stood by your side in the fight against the Absolute. You waste no time in packing and set off on the long road back to where all of your adventures together began.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
I'm glad. Didn't expect to be nervous. But seeing everyone here like this, it's strange, isn't it? I feel like I must have dreamed the last few months. Now I'm waking up back in camp with my hair smelling like wood smoke and fallen leaves stuck to my backside. Save it for when we're alone. Anyway, I know it's real. I know we made it. I just wish I could go back in time and reassure the old me that it would all work out. But enough introspection. This is a party. I hope we won't seem terribly boring to everyone when they ask what we've been doing this past while. A cottage in the countryside. They may have been expecting something more. Well, more. True. I wonder if anyone will be interested to hear the stories they told me of my youngest years. It's still strange to think of this whole other childhood I had before Shah. Almost like it's some other little girl. It's fine. Already passed. Shah must have sensed I was enjoying myself. She'd probably break out in hives. But enough about Shah and her petty barbs. We're here to see old friends and enjoy ourselves. So let's do just that. I feel better already. Have fun. Just don't wear yourself out too. Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? Enjoying yourself, I hope. There's special potions that can help with that. I think I saw some on a table over yonder if you care to investigate. Let's make tonight count. The only regrets I want to hear about come morning should revolve around an excess of carousing and questionable dancing. And perhaps a drink, too.
I honestly don't mind what we do once we get to the... Ow! What the... Oh, no. Oh, God. Well, it was nice when it lasted. Ah! I'm sorry. I have to go. Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And I must say, for someone who had to face down a dark god, you seem to be doing remarkably well. What have you been up to? No relapses, I hope? I am pleased to hear it. For all our sakes. Not that I was worried, of course. I knew you'd have this under control. But I am glad to see you doing well. I'm glad to see us all doing well, in fact. Things turned out rather nicely in the end. Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. I'm sorry I didn't seek you out that night. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been. No, this is all me. I swear. Don't get me wrong. I was a mess at first. Every day I yearned for the sun and mourned my curse to live in the shadows. But in time, I realized that darkness is as much a part of me as my fangs. This is only a curse as long as I refuse to embrace the shadows. So, I decided I would. I decided not to be defined by the choices other people made, by what other people did to me. My past may be done, but my present, my future, they're mine. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
No obligation. It's been too long.
So you made it! Now it really is a party.
You made it! Now the revelry can truly begin. Withers has laid out quite a spread of food, for one comprising mostly of bone. Perhaps he wishes to live vicariously through the attendees' appetites. You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. We have all pined for each other's company, I sense. I cannot imagine otherwise after what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. You are right, of course. I am accustomed to dwelling on the past, even when it brought me nothing but unhappiness. You changed that, and gave me the most precious of memories. Now the task is to make yet more of them, so that each reunion shall be all the sweeter. And who's to say we need to make such gatherings a rare occasion? My hearth is yours to warm yourself beside always. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see, my charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. Ha! You would ask to be tucked in next. But whatever the intrepid adventurer needed, I would have been glad to provide. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. I am glad you have kept yourself occupied. No doubt I'll be able to spin a few yarns for the children from this. Thank you. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. I spend half my days in Ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. Of course. If only we could stay like that forever. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Oh, I am well aware, trust me. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on, enjoy the festivities.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way over.
I can never forget you. Your name will be etched in our slates. You will be called Mlagir, Liberator. To the skies! Old friend. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head.
Limbo, she'd said. A plane of chaos where you might drink fire like water, where you might breathe ice instead of air. And the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one of the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed them.
We've spilled blood, gained a foothold in the astral, but still we need allies. And one beyond reckoning has made itself known. Zerith Minyaragith.
Zerith Menyaragith. You've heard the name. The immortal god king of the Githzerai, and the ruler of their capital, Shrakdalor.
Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. My blade is keen as ever, but it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. I suppose it is, rather. I'm just glad to be here at all. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. More to the point, I missed you. But I'll be back to see you again when the comet has risen, as surely as Kalir will forever circle the sun.
A word? Important.
This is... nice. Yes. I think that's the right word for it.
you are. I was hoping you'd make your way over.
Your relief, your projection holds. You can touch, take the Gitzerai, gotcha the Gitzer.
What's the word on the rebellion? I presume you've cracked open more Kithraki heads than you could possibly count. Dulled a bit, rebuilding a city requires a politic mind. A sharp soldering blade, not so much. Bargains must be made. Coin must change hands. Tongues must be held in check. Still, I make the decisions I see fit. The ones I think will restore the city to glory. I serve only Baldur's Gate, not a devil of the first hell. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire. The comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. Never. The hexes and eldritch blasts, losing them took getting used to. They left behind a cold abyss where fire once raged. So I stoked a new one. Now the burning comes from within me, not from the depths of Avernus. I've had more than a few challenges, given the horns sprouting from my head. The people know me as one of the champions who saved their beloved city. They know Ravengard blood flows through my veins. The patriarchs, the aristocracy, the councils of Waterdeep and Arm, their arms aren't so wide open. Still, there's no friction that can't be greased with a sly promise or a proposition. Disbanded, to be formed anew. I don't expect a soldier or street sweeper to see through the schemes of a tyrant like Gortash. But the city's lords and ladies were all too eager to abandon their oaths and bend the knee. Liara Porter is now Grand Duke of the Wilds, Sickle of Chult. Floric is now Grand Duke of the Crossing, the face of devotion. And I am Wyll Ravengard, Grand Duke of the Worm, Heart of the Gate. We will yet be four. Until such time and after, we will enact the will of the People's Parliament. Baldur's Gate is nothing without its citizens, both in the upper and lower. Our duty is to them, and only them. I've entrusted the fist to Floric. She commands the Flaming Fist with as brave a heart as ever, and delivered them nary a scolding nor lashing. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, Florix pardoned every last fist. I will not make them drink the poison of my own resentment. Her words, not mine. Like my father, she believes in the bow and the blade. But she's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. The jewel of the coast will shine ever bright, welcoming the weak and the weary from wherever they hail. We are building new housing, not just shanties, but homes where families can rest their heads, plant gardens, pursue happiness. Amazing what can be done when Parliament and the Council pressure the upper city elites to open their coffers. I'm sure the Silver Shields can make do without a few more jeweled crowns. Of course. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? Scratch barks merrily in something like agreement. He seems excited in a way you recognize. He wants you to throw the object he's cropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. He whines. Let's talk, more throw. A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak.
Goodbye, son. Goodbye, sea. Goodbye. I'm ready. I stand back. I'm going to.
I have something to ask.
Thou feelst it still. She is not here. She who was the boldest. Hast thy thoughts been with brave Karlach often? Truly? Most of the time it was she who was strong for thee. Didst thou not employ her ever to carry all of thine loot? It is said that mortals require levity, that it is the antidote to any of the darkest hours. And who knew that better than she? In but a dozen 10 days, an entire life was lived. More than mortal years. Mortal centuries were hers. Thy band, thy bond, gave that life to her. In the fugue plane, her soul burns so bright, it pains the gods to look upon. Recall that in time, all changeth and all is rejoined. Thou shalt be with her again.
It's the star of the show, our humble protagonist who forsook Baal to save the city. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Always, my friend. But the villain I must needs slay today is my greatest yet. A deadline. You won't be surprised to find I'm soon to publish a little holiday read about our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Oh, terribly sorry, but you mistake me, my friend. I'm only accepting complimentary feedback at this time. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in. Don't worry, friend. I'll be sure to send your royalties by post once the manuscript's published. I'm certain I have your address around here somewhere.
A reprieve from the Githyanki invasion. For this day at least.
A night without...
Well now. You can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Ah, how nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? An empty throne, thanks to you. The city will not be long in burying it. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work, but they have chosen it for themselves. There is still much to do. People to house, a Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. But I see the flush in your cheeks when I speak of family. Perhaps you mean to start one of your own. Oh, I don't want to watch over a blood match where the duelists call me auntie. You just be careful, Valspawn. All right, Ball child. It is true you are no longer what you were. You have done well for yourself. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Oh, Boo. Minsc. Boo! We are not dreaming! It is our old friend! Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsc began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. Minsc and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? In ample time indeed. So long as the Bone Mage returns us to our cell by dawn, Boo would not be late to the bloodshed. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration, and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky?
Minsc has wondered how that sad-mouthed grey cloak and flighty Aerie have fared, and whether Yarn ever built his turnip cannon. But should you meet a red wizard, remember, you may have conquered your bloodline, but there is no shame in a small and sensible amount of murder.
There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap, so you shall have to blow the bubbles for me. Away, my friend! Minsc shall soon strip, and Boo will not see you blinded.
Why are you looking at me so? I'm enjoying myself. You look upon fun, Jaheira. The man just makes friends wherever he goes, no? Ah, fine then. I shall keep him from jumping back through a portal in the morning. Or perhaps follow him and give the Zentarim a talking to, if my head is sore enough.
But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Chiontha. If I salvage the stones, I could retrieve it. Perhaps even wield it. With the crown in my hands, I would be unstoppable. I would be more than the greatest wizard who ever lived. I would be a god. Want, need, deserve. Choose whatever word you prefer. But it is what I'm going to do. Mystra has dictated the terms of my potential for long enough. The crown would grant me control of my own destiny at last. Think of all I could achieve. All that I could grant to those whose ambitions are restrained by Mistra's yoke. I could raise a new Netherrealm, right here in Faerun. It seems that we've come to an impasse. I stand on the threshold of divine ascension, and you would try to keep me grounded. It's not your fault. I can hardly expect you to understand. But nor will I relinquish this chance because you're unwilling to imagine a world where I succeed. Ah, I will never forget you. That much I promise. And if one day you feel differently, I will be honored to have you as my chosen.
Farewell, Gale. I hope he still remembers us little people once he's secured godhood. Though he may have to contend with Mystra before that's a foregone conclusion.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep. And if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished. Alas, on this occasion I appear to have been erased from this plane in both soul and substance. So the usual protocol for revivification cannot be followed. I am, however, available for the duration of this spell to assist with the tying of any loose ends related to my recent departure from mortality. Your words may feign indifference, but I can only assume they are a facade behind which your true heartbreak is keenly felt. The good news is I am here precisely to assist in cushioning that heaviest of blows. I have been entrusted with the delivery of a letter to be given to one who cared most for me in life. I hope these words do something to ease the tragedy of my untimely and honestly, quite unexpected passing. With that, I'm afraid my spell is waning. Is there anything else you need of me before I blink out of existence? think I believed godhood was worth losing all this.
Rather warmer down south than it is in Waterdeep. Oh, right. You. Hello. Yes, I'm certain it is. As for you, well, I've heard congratulations are in order. You helped Mr. Dekarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? I can almost feel Gale here. Among his friends. In you. Some part of him remains, doesn't it? I suppose we do. But I certainly wish we didn't. Oh, what I wouldn't give to snuggle up on his lap one more time. Just once would do. Ah, to lose the one you love the most. What a terrible thing. Perhaps you'd be willing to come meet Gale's mother sometime? She misses him so. And I know it would do her heart a world of good to discuss her son with someone who knew him as he was. Jolly good. I'll tell Mrs. Dekarios to be expecting you. Oh, she'll be delighted. Things just haven't been the same without himself cluttering up the place. Enjoy your party, dear. I've heard you quite deserve a celebration.
Welcome.
I owe you a debt of gratitude. You were the spark of ambition that rekindled Gale's ambitions after Mystra had so cleverly put them to rest. And you are the reason he survived the appetites of the tadpole for so long. I will admit I was angry when you failed to deliver the crown to me. Those who break a deal with this devil do not usually live to tell the tale. All is forgiven, though. The crown came to me as promised, and the method of delivery was spectacular. Gale harnessed its power, as Karsus once did, and he too fell into ruin. He was halfway to heaven when the orb detonated, tearing him apart. All that remained were ashes, blood, tears, and the crown. Always the crown. The decimation of Gale did not even leave a mark on it. Ambition, courage, hope. They all burn you in the end. I will bend the crown to my will now, and use its power to bring the 9 hells under my command. When that is done, I will need new worlds to conquer. It won't be long before I come knocking at your door. Ta-ta for now.
Why were we stranded?
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little. Milil. Though if the lack of song prayers is anything to go by, that name carries less weight than it used to. Apologies. I think I got a mote. Carried away there. You're hardly to blame. You just want to change up the music, I wager. No, I can see it all over your face. You've not a clue who I am. Go on then. What should I play? Fine. It's your party after all.
What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready, for thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving.